You're listening to JTE Movie Thinks. Is that the title? Is that correct grammar? All right, we'll go with it. It's a show about movies and thinking. And now, here's your host, every man's hero, JTE.
Welcome back once again for another episode of JTE Movie Thinks. Now, when I first announced this podcast, obviously everyone was thinking, he's got to have Bobby Finstock on. We do a show together, box office breakdown every Monday. And you know what? I got delivered to the fans. So here he is, the one, the only, the diabolical Bobby Finstock.
Poof. What's up, Schmoes?
Poof. Yeah, that's your, how did you get, you know what? Before we even get into the show, where did Poof originate from?
Well, basically, a lot of the stories that I tell, people think they're not true. And then when they turn out to be true, I don't want to say I told you so. So poof is like my I told you so in a certain sort of way.
So like,
and it's easier to say as well.
So if you're with a girl and she goes, there's no way you're going to get me to orgasm, and you get her to orgasm, you're just like poof.
Yeah, usually it's a double poof for the double orgasm.
It's a double.
Yeah, it's pretty simple stuff.
All right, guys, so this is a movie podcast show, so we're not going to get too much into that.
No, that's for another show.
That's for another show. So basically on this show, Bobby, is what I do is I don't say, what's the last movie you saw in a theater?
Right.
I say, what's the last movie you saw, period? Was it on Netflix one night, or maybe last night? Was it on an airplane that you're coming back from somewhere? Or were you on your iPad and just happened to watch something while you're on a friend's house and you're bored? I'm going to ask you, what is the last movie you watched? And that's where the conversation will start.
I really like this idea. It's very interesting, considering that, you know, I do a lot of movie watching in Oscar season. December, I work all year round, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Okay.
And, you know, I don't really get a chance to watch movies that much. But during the break, I do. And I just scroll through. I go to my sister's house in New York. I scroll through the TV, you know, and watch anything that's on. And something catches my eye. I watched this movie, and I forgot how good it was because I haven't seen it in a really long time.
Oh, okay. So it's an older film.
Yeah.
All right.
And it was uncut, too, because it was on HBO.
Oh, great.
And I was really happy about it.
Best way to watch it.
It's the 1976 classic, The Killing of a Chinese Bookie.
Shut up.
I'm kidding.
I was like, I never heard of this movie.
But it's a movie.
It's a movie. Okay, you said 1976, and I immediately went to Rocky.
Of course, but everybody, that would be too cliche.
Yeah.
It's another movie from 1976.
Really?
And I think besides Rocky and maybe Taxi Driver,
Oh, so it's not
the
Taxi
best
Driver.
movie of 1976.
Oh, what could it be?
It's a little something called The Bad News Bears.
The Bad News, Walter Matthau.
Walter Matthau.
Wow.
Jackie Earl Haley.
Not the Billy Bob Thornton version.
No, that's junk. I don't even consider that a movie.
Wow, this is going to be an interesting conversation because I remember, listen, growing up on cable, you would see the Bad News Bears quite a lot.
Absolutely.
And it was, unfortunately, if it was on cable, it wasn't always the original. It was, what did they go to Tokyo at one point?
Yeah, they went to Japan. Then they went to like Indochina, and they were like they couldn't have enough money to pay for the baseball team, so they like started working at a sneaker factory. I don't know, that was weird.
They had to make their own cleats.
Pretty much. And then it was like William Devine. And
Yeah, so did they replace Walter Matthau? How many was he actually in?
Just one. He's like, look, I can play that washed out alcoholic just once with the dirty members only jacket and the dirty like hat, whatever the case may be. He didn't need to do any more. I felt he deserved an Oscar for that, or at least a nod.
An Oscar?
A nod.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, see, I'm checking IMDb, and the first thing that comes up is the 2005 film.
Of course it does.
Which is disgusting.
Well, that's the age, and that's the thing. That's another thing I want to get into about this movie.
All right, well, let's get that. First of all, I'm going to do, Ken kind of started this. I'm going to read the synopsis of this movie before we go any farther. An aging, down on his luck ex-minor league coach coaches a team of misfits in an ultra-competitive California league. So this takes place in California.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Actually, the San Fernando Valley where they shot it.
Really? All right. So let me say something. I remember pieces of this film.
Okay.
I remember mainly the daughter and the kid.
Tatum O'Neal.
Jackie Earle Haley.
Yeah, Marlon Brando on a motorcycle at 12.
Yeah, and I remember that's the two things that really stick out of my mind. Mm-hmm. And she was kind of like a tomboy.
She was.
He was like supposed to be this tough kid.
Yeah, and
he looked like the kid that would get his milk money taken away. He didn't look like a tough kid.
Well, he was
he weighed next to nothing.
He was that guy, and when you were in like 4th grade, who was like able to cross the street without like nobody else can, or he'd sneak like one of his mom's cigarettes. He'd steal money out of his mom's pocketbook. I don't know where he got the motorcycle from. His mom was probably a drug addict. His dad was probably like not around.
Was it a real was it a dirt bike or was it like a moped? I kind of remember it being like a small little bike.
Yeah, it was like a small little like mopedy like.
Yeah.
It might have been Harley Davidson. I'm not sure.
No way, really?
Yeah, it might have been like one of the little ones. I'm not sure.
All right. Wow, I forgot.
This movie.
Some of this stuff. And the daughter was Tatum O'Neal. I totally forgot about
Tatum O'Neal.
Yeah, like you said.
I think Jackie Earle Haley at least got something out of the deal with that. They were both like 12 at the time. And then they were in the ballerina scene. He got something. Maybe a kiss.
So, who directed this film? Michael Ritchie. Michael Ritchie.
Yes.
What else has he done?
Fletch.
Really?
Wildcats. He's done.
Yeah, you're right. Golden Child, the Eddie Murphy movie.
Golden Child.
Holy crap.
Absolutely.
That's a movie we can talk about sometime.
Yeah, it was. No, the guy's pretty amazing for the most part.
All right, so let's go over the movie just a little bit.
And Diggstown with Lou Gossett Jr.
Oh, yes, with James Woods.
Yes.
Awesome movie. I'm going to try to tell you as much as I can remember, and then you kind of chime in since you've seen it more recently.
Sure.
So, is it kind of like the Mighty Ducks where he got in trouble and had to...
No, this is the Mighty Ducks. The Mighty Ducks was based off this, sort of.
Okay, so how did he become in the movie? How did he become the coach? I can't remember.
He's a pool guy, and none of the parents wanted to run the team because it was a bunch of ragtag misfits. Mm-hmm. So they pay this guy Buttermaker to run the team.
What a name.
Yeah.
Buttermaker.
Morris Buttermaker. It's amazing stuff. The movie, it's aged well, too.
Really? Okay,
like, it
still holds up. I haven't seen it in so long.
He played the role of perfection, like they said, that washed out sort of like guy who had really nothing going for him, drank beers like every single 5 seconds while driving. And that's what I like about this movie. It's not just only a really good sports movie, it's a really good overall movie. Like, I don't even consider it a sports movie. If I did, it would be one of my favorite baseball movies of all time, second to Major League. And that's pretty in high regard because Major League is one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Okay, all right.
So it's pretty close.
Now, Walter Matthau, his daughter is on the team, and it's his stepdaughter?
It's like his granddaughter or something.
Oh, it's his granddaughter.
Or like his cousin. Something along those lines.
Okay, and does she like guilt trip him to coach the team?
No, he gets paid to do it.
Okay.
And he was like,
so he just kind of takes it for the money.
Sure.
And then it kind of becomes a little more something like that.
Right.
The kids are all...
Then he pimps her out to like go get Jackie Earle Haley on the team.
That's right. You're right. Oh my god, I
like
remember that. They go to like an arcade.
They go to an arcade. Jackie Earle Haley like wants sex, I think.
This movie is
1976
is great.
So he doesn't get it. She was like, if I win, you play on the team. If you win, you whatever. And he like looks at her really seductively. I'm like, what's going on here? He loses. She loses. She walks back into Matthau's car, and he's like, "Yo, you can't do anything right. We need this guy on our team to win." And basically, what happens is Jackie Earle Haley pulls up to the car, like smoking a cigarette on the motorcycle, and goes, "I'll pick you up at 8:00." And she's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "What's that about?" She goes, "Yeah, we're going to the Rolling Stone concert. At 12." So he has to go with him. He's like, "You don't want to hang around with that guy. He's a loser."
Now, according to IMDb, Jodie Foster was cast at one point as Amanda.
Yes.
Which totally fits, because when I think about that role, it's very similar to her role in Taxi Driver.
True. And the reason why she didn't do Bad News Bears is because Taxi Driver.
Because of Taxi Driver. Well,
correct.
As much as I love Bad News Bears, I think she made the right choice.
I would say too.
All right, so...
Just, the thing is about this movie is it captured the innocence, America was just coming off the war.
Yeah, Vietnam War.
And America needed something, And these kids in this movie are cursing, smoking cigarettes, ditching school, politically incorrect things. But now, I think this might be the most politically incorrect movie of that era, or that year at that point, Because Taxi Driver is probably more politically correct. Okay. But, nowadays this movie can't fly and it won't fly.
Well, no, I remember even in the 80s, you would see a PG movie and you would get breast.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there were movies where, just one of the guys...
No, you would have to break out, like, an apparatus of, like, sex toys to get an R rating.
Seriously, like...
Breasts were nothing.
And it's funny because, like, sex has gotten... you don't get that anymore in PG movies, but the violence, I think...
Yes.
Is a little bit looser now.
Yes.
So it's almost like we got a trade-off.
Well, look at Walking Dead. I mean, it's on regular TV, and that's gorier than half the movies I see.
That's a good point. All right. So 1976, you're a Rocky, Taxi Driver, and Bad News Bears. Not the movie I thought you were going to say.
The Omen, The Star is Born.
So, all right, in the movie...
And the killing of the Chinese bookie.
I can't wait to look up that movie after this.
It's going to be amazing.
So, in the movie, they're not doing good. They're the Bad News Bears.
Correct.
And it's almost like Walter Matthau's bad attitude and behavior kind of gels with the team.
Yeah.
And do they start winning, or is it...
Yeah. Once they get... Because Tatum O'Neal starts pitching, like, no-hitters.
Okay.
And Jackie Earle is, like...
knocking him out of the park.
He's hitting like grand slams with nobody on base. He's batting like 4 times in a row. It's unbelievable.
Okay.
But there's they play like they lose to the Yankees like 100-0 in the beginning, and then obviously they play them in the end. And I'm not going to spoiler alert this thing for anybody, so you should have seen it already. They lose in the end, which is that un-Disney like ending. You know what I mean? Like they lose.
Yeah.
And Buttermaker gives them all beers, and they're like, he's like, better luck next year, and like they get like a second place trophy, and like Tanner, the wise mouth who calls everybody like the N word, the J word, the S word, the every word, no filter,
okay,
which I thought is not like, and I wouldn't consider him like a racist or anything like that. He just grows up hearing that and says it with no real regard for what he's really talking about, and I think that's what the problem is with movies today.
Now, as far as spoilers go, I don't care. I really want to talk about the end of this movie. Like you said, they lose. But what happens, this is going to be spoilers. This movie's 37 years old.
Yeah.
I love the fact that it ends with them just start beating the crap.
Yeah.
They just start beating the crap out of the other team.
Yes.
It's like whenever you play a sport and you're competitive and you lose, you just want to beat the crap out of the guy, even though you're giving him a fake smile and a handshake.
Of course.
These guys actually just... explain to me, because how did it happen? I don't remember exactly how it started.
They were like down a couple of runs. Jackie Earle Haley hits like a base clearing triple or something like that. He's rounding it to have an inside the park home run to win the game or tie the game. They call him out at the plate. There was an alternate ending where he was safe. It tested for audiences, and they didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah. Just like Rocky winning in Rocky 5 or whatever, 6. It's better. That person needs to lose sometimes. It's like when you're watching these movies, cliches are good. Well, cliches are going to happen, regardless, in every single movie. You watch Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
You know he's not going to die at the end.
Of course.
But if the movie is beyond the cliches, if there's like really good action and really good intense moments, you'll enjoy it, regardless. So, bottom line is, yes, cliches are going to happen. You know it. It's Shakespearean, whatever. No one's going to break the mold here anymore. The way I look at it is him being out. They drink beers. One of the guys who hired Buttermaker's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I was having a beer. I promised him." Whatever, right? Him and Tatum O'Neal have like a really good moment where Walter Matthau smiles for like the first time in the whole movie.
Okay.
They go over there. The Yankees give him a cheer. Okay. And they're like, who, 2, 4, 6,
That's
8,
right, I
who
remember.
the fuck do we appreciate, whatever.
Yeah,
And it's like the Bears, yeah, Bears. And Tanner, they give these like little trophies. Like, you can take this trophy and stick it up your ass.
Yes.
And then you hear like the din 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 din.
Yeah, that almost Benny Hill type music.
Yeah, whatever it is. I think it's like some classical music.
Classical music, yeah.
But there was classical music throughout. I mean,
and then they just start wrecking shop. I mean, are they? Do they start punching? Are they drop kicking?
Yeah, and then it just cuts out. You know what I mean? It just like ends from there. But
they live up to their name, the Bad News Bears.
Oh, absolutely, and you get it. I mean, they had Spanish guys, black guys, fat guys, mentally challenged guys, for lack of a better word. Like I said, the adult undertones in this movie. Mm-hmm. It's like it was almost like an animated movie now. Like how there's so many undertones in it. I really like this movie because it encapsulated my childhood. I was a big Little League guy. I knew the drunk coach. I knew the sore loser parents. I knew the one of my team members' 12-year-old unobtainable girl, or sister that, you were hoping was watching you hit a home run, but she was watching some other douche off to the other side. Things like that. And I really believe that what it really was. Everybody knows a Jackie Earl Haley. I knew one. His name was Joe D'Erasmo. The guy smoked cigarettes while playing. And his dad did it on the sidelines and encouraged him to do it.
Okay.
Inner city New York, that's how it was. And that's what really, I don't know, I got my competitive spirit off that kind of movie. And now I see all these guys in the NBA and they're hanging out, talking to each other after they lose and stuff like that. No, when I lost, I went into the car and cried and left and didn't talk to anybody for months.
That's a true competitor.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I know you're supposed to act sportsman. I'm a very competitive person myself. I will smile and be like, "Good job," but inside, my guts are just tearing apart.
Yeah,
because I wanted to win.
Well, I have nightmares still over a game I lost in 1986. I felt it could have maybe, if I would have won that championship game, the whole course of my life might have changed.
It's like the movie Mr. Destiny,
right?
With Jim Belushi. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, it's great.
It's all about a guy
it's fantastic.
Who didn't hit the home run in the big game, and he thinks his whole life, we should remake that movie with you.
Sure. And it's all the right, not all the right stuff.
All the right moves.
All the right moves.
With Tom Cruise.
Yes. No, not all the right.
All the right moves is with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it was. But it's Kurt Russell and Robin Williams.
Oh, The Best of Times.
The Best of Times.
Love that movie.
He missed the catch in high school.
And he does
everything. Was the loser,
yes.
whole time. It was crazy.
R.I.P. to Robin Williams.
Right, exactly.
That's a great movie, by the way. If a lot of people out there haven't seen it, The Best of Times with Kurt Russell and Robin Williams.
Fantastic.
Great movie. Very underappreciated, in my opinion.
Robin Williams in a different kind of angle. Wasn't really comedic, was dorky, and it really worked for him.
He was like a coward with no spine, who would kind of do whatever he could just to get what he wanted.
But he orchestrated the game because he knew that's what was holding him back in life. The crazy part about it, the Yankee coach Vic Morrow, who was fantastic in it as well, hit the bottle after that and a couple of other things. And it's a crazy story. He got back in the, just a little Finstock fact here.
Okay.
He got back and was doing movies. It was 1982 or something like that. After a couple of years about it with the bottle, he did a movie, The Twilight Zone, and he was on set with two little Cambodian kids, and a helicopter crashed and decapitated him, the kid, and crushed the other one.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a little known fact.
All right, Google that up.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, so this movie came out in 1976, and according to this, in 1977, The Bad News Bears in Breaking Training.
Yes.
What the hell is that?
It's actually a pretty good movie.
Is it not bad?
It's not bad. William Devine's there. They go to Houston and play in the Astrodome. And
Jack Earl Haley returned.
Yes, he did. He had to.
Yeah, was he?
Tatum O'Neal didn't, though.
No, and it was
she won an Oscar.
William Devane took over.
William Devane, yes. Who's great. Who's a great actor as well.
Wow. Okay, so they really did not wait long to get that sequel off the ground. I mean, with that thing, the second it hit weekend box office numbers and they saw it was making money, they threw it to the production machine and crank another one out. Because honestly, this is not like Taxi Driver. This is something you can belt out in a month.
Of course.
All you need is the kids and a guy, a comedian.
You know what it is, man? I just wish they would make movies like this more often. Where the kids actually had room to grow and expand. Nowadays, if a kid says something wrong, the parents want to put him on drugs. They want to put him on Ritalin. They want to put him on, they're like, oh, he's got ADHD, he's this, he's hyperactive, he's this, he's that. This is, I don't know, I really firmly believe, yes, this movie has some holes in it, but comedic-wise and just the overtones and the originality of it, it's a fantastic film. Everybody should check it out.
And you feel it holds up pretty well?
Oh, yeah. I think 100%.
Nice.
100%. Like I said,
now I think about it, though, you say you saw it on HBO?
Yes.
I can't remember the last time I came across it just on cable or anything. It's been a while.
I watched this. I was partying in New York, and I came home, and it was on 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I was coming off of fumes and nudity and other things, and I was like, wow, I'm going to watch this whole thing, and I did. And I was really excited about it.
All right, so if that one came out in 77, the Bad News Bears Go to Japan came out in 78.
Yeah, they were
3
bad.
years in a row this movie came out.
Well, I mean, you could crunch out a movie like that too. If somebody told me
that's
to write
impressive. Even nowadays they turnaround is pretty quick.
Yeah,
But to have 3 movies, even Rocky spread it out a little bit.
of course.
This is like year after year.
Well, it's like Garfield.
And again, Jackie Earle Haley was in the 3rd one also.
Yeah, but only for like a couple of seconds.
Yeah, it says Tony Curtis was the lead.
Yeah, Tony Curtis. And there was a couple other things there. It wasn't, no, that's the one you need to skip.
That's the one you need to skip?
And then then it was a TV series as well. It's a big
It's a
franchise.
TV series.
I mean, any sucky Little League team in the world is compared to the Bad News Bears. They're like,
point.
there's the Bad News Bears of this. Whatever.
Why do you think the 2005 Billy Bob Thornton version, it wasn't a horrible movie.
You can't find Jackie Earle Haley.
True.
You can't find a Tatum O'Neal.
Yeah.
You can't find like those Spanish and Mexican and black kids they had there. Those guys were
What do you mean
unpolished.
they can't find them? It's not like they're gone.
Yeah, but those guys were unpolished gems.
Okay.
Those guys weren't actors. They found them on the street.
That's
They're like, hey, we need
good
a
point.
couple of pair of Spanish brothers here. You know what I mean? And they got them. And the crazy part about it was they didn't even. They were only supposed to speak, Spanish in the movie, but they didn't even know any lines of Spanish. So they had to, improvise.
The thing I remember the most from that remake is Billy Bob Thornton. It just came off Bad Santa, which is a very funny movie.
Which is sort of like a Buttermaker.
Yeah, but this movie was almost like the same character from Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
Bad Santa.
Right.
Basically just put into Bad News Bears.
Correct.
So it was like, I don't know, it felt unoriginal. Even though it was a remake and he hadn't done that role before, because he just did Bad Santa, we've seen him in such a similar role that I was like, I feel like I just saw this movie, but with less R-rated language.
It's not even that. The movie shouldn't have been remade as a whole. Yes, the Back in Training one was good and the Japan one was horrible. But there's some movies that don't need to be remade. This is a perfect movie. I think this movie should be shown to like every Little League kid, and I think it probably is. I mean, if you could talk to anybody in the Little League World Series, I guarantee they play Bad News Bears on loop in the clubhouse, things like that. It's more about sportsmanship. It's more about life itself. And, yes, 9 times out of 10, Little League Baseball doesn't exist in, like, really affluent neighborhoods. It's more of, like, an inner-city sport. It started there. Affluent people take their kids to, like, special baseball practices with, like, Major League Baseball players. They don't play with, like, these guys. Sometimes I had like a handicapped kid on my team. We had a ragtag bunch of guys. When I was in New York, I quit baseball for a couple of years when I was like 8 or 9 because I was like selling cigarettes and doing some other stuff. Then I joined back. The league had 4 teams in it. What happened was that they got overbooked, so they had like 8 guys, and they're like, might as well make another team out of this. So it was like late signups or whatever, and nobody who wanted them draft any of these people. So they finally got a team. There was 9 guys. So we had to have 9 guys every day show up to actually play a game. Mm-hmm. And that was the year that we got together, started playing well, almost went to the championship and lost in extra innings.
No
And that's
way.
still the year that I thought that if I won, might have changed the whole course of my life.
It's crazy. Well, this was a very good episode, Bobby Finstock. I had no idea what movie you were going to bring up, and
Cool.
you brought up a movie from 1976. When I heard that, obviously, my mind went right to Rocky.
It goes
but
to Rocky.
I'm glad you brought this movie up because it's not one of those movies like you caught on HBO, but I barely ever see it on TV anymore.
Yep.
So the people out there listening, you might actually have to go out and find this movie a little bit.
Correct.
Check your library. Sometimes the library might. I feel like it's something you can find in a library nowadays.
You probably can. You can probably get it on $2.99 on like Amazon or something. If you have the MLB Network, it'll be on there.
Oh, once in a while?
But it'll be cut, and you won't hear like what the really movie is about when these kids cursing and things like that.
Yeah, and guys, 1976, Walter Matthau was great in it. That's one thing
yeah.
I do. I always loved Matthau back in the day, from Grumpy Old Men
To Odd
Couple to this movie.
He sort of channeled like the Oscar Madison guy.
Oh,
in
for
this.
sure.
He played that guy. He had that face.
One last note. So a lot of my listeners probably, or our listeners, when they think like kid baseball movie, they're probably thinking The Sandlot,
Correct.
which is a great movie.
It is a good movie.
Much different than The Bad News Bears.
Correct.
If you were to choose Bad News Bears or The Sandlot, which one would you go towards? Which one do you lean towards as the better film?
The Bad News Bears.
It is Bad News Bears.
I think it was the first movie about kids playing Little League Baseball, and a movie just straight for the kids.
Gotcha.
You know, I mean, like Little Rascals in like the 20s and 30s and all these other things, but it's like this movie was based on that and had, like I said, the politically incorrectness. America needed something like this back in those days. And you'll see this movie in, like I said, every Little League person who plays baseball should know about this movie on every single level. It's an unpolished gem, just like me.
I agree. After this, just talking with you here, I want to like go back and revisit it because I am a little bit cloudy. My memory's cloudy. Again, I grew up with the movie, but I honestly haven't seen it in so long. It's not even one of those movies I even see when I go to like Best Buy or you never see it like just sitting there for $5 on DVD. So while you guys might have to go out, who knows? You might be able to find it free on YouTube somewhere.
It's possible on Netflix.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, if you're into adventure, you should watch The Goonies. That's required material for a kid.
Oh, of course.
And required material for me.
It's hilarious. I still love that movie.
Goonies is still the best adventure movie of all time, kid-wise. And I also think Bad News Bears is the best kind of sport-related,
kids movie,
like coming of age.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, it's hard to call a kids movie because of some of the material in there.
Right, of course.
But
I mean, there's a lot of sexual innuendos. Jackie O'Haley hits in like a 19-year-old chick at a ballerina thing. It's unbelievable. He's like, hey, you like Harley Davidsons? Lady's like ready to blow him. It's amazing. All
right, guys. That's going to do it for another episode of JTE Movie Thinks. Thanks so much, Bobby Finstock. This will not be your last time on here, as you know.
I hope not.
We will see you soon. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Do me a favor. You're listening to this on iTunes. Rate and review. That helps me out big time. It takes 2 seconds. You don't have to write a paragraph. You can just write an exclamation mark. I don't care. Just write anything. And give me a 5-star review if you feel like I gave you a 5-star podcast. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. And keep thinking about those movies.
Poof.